Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 1 to What If Naruto Was the Reincarnation of Wolverine. So, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Sorry for the lack of videos in the past few days. I can't really say busy doing things as much as I've just been kind of procrastinating, not doing things. So, yeah, that's my fault, and sorry about that. So yeah, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll leave a link to my Discord in the description, along with any other future parts of this What If, and let's just actually get right into the video itself. So obviously with a what if like this, when Naruto is the reincarnation of something, this what if is going to start off way back, and when Naruto is actually, being born. His parents will stay the same, being Minato and Kushina. However, when Naruto is born, he really doesn't have chakra, he doesn't have this, and he seems to be some kind of like normal human, somebody who couldn't be a ninja or anything like that. But that doesn't really affect anything right now because his parents are gonna die, and everybody who would actually know that will end up, being silenced by the Hokage and everything like that. Nobody's gonna know about this, including Naruto. So with this happening, Minato and everybody else like that would end up dying, and the Nine Tails would not actually be sealed inside of Naruto because, he has no chakra. Minato would see that he has no chakra, and he'd realize he can't do something like that. It physically would not allow that to even happen. Or if something that even did happen, Kurama would literally instantaneously take over, and it just wouldn't work in Minato's favor. So the Nine Tails would either get killed by Minato through some weird method, and Minato would still end up dying, or it would get sealed in somebody else. Either way, it won't really make too much of a difference towards the story, because by the time the Nine Tails did come back, it would be probably around the Pain arc, which would be around the arc where, Pain would invade and try to take the Nine Tails anyway. So it probably wouldn't make all too much of a difference for what the exact future of, this what if is going to be. But, Naruto does not have the Nine Tails sealed within him. So, with that being said, let's explain exactly what is going to happen to Naruto as he's growing up. So, Orochimaru was pretty interested in this kid whose parents were two, prodigies, or, people one prodigy and one person with a fuck ton of chakra, and he's like, interesting. The child was born without chakra, without this, and obviously Orochimaru would be like, I want to experiment on this kid. So he grabs Naruto, he takes him out of the village, and he takes him to one of his hideouts, where he would begin experimenting on Naruto, where he finds out that Naruto has this pretty immeasurable and immense amount of regeneration, and it's pretty immense at that. And it's crazy. It's a completely absurd amount of regeneration that Naruto could have. He could regenerate entire limbs and entire lower half of his body. It's pretty crazy, and Orochimaru takes this even further, trying to see exactly how much of Naruto's body he could regenerate, how fast it was, all the factors of this regeneration, how much of the stamina it took Naruto to do so. He began testing and experimenting on all these different things until eventually he came to the conclusion that Naruto and Naruto alone exceeded Hashirama's healing ability and has basically the healing factor required for an operation that Orochimaru has had in mind for a while now, but no test subjects that could have anywhere near a chance of surviving the experimentation. This would be a metal that Orochimaru had found in the Naruto universe that seemed to be, basically infinitely stronger than any other. So Orochimaru liquidizes this metal, or that's really the only way anybody can really do anything with it. Otherwise, it's just this solid hunk of metal that nobody can really, bend or shape or anything like that. It's liquidized, and he begins flowing it into Naruto, however the fuck that works, injecting it into Naruto's bones. This obviously would be adamantite, or adamantium, depending on, what it actually, it doesn't really matter at this point, but whatever. He's injecting this, basically, serum into Naruto. As Naruto's body starts obviously reacting to this, he's quickly having to regenerate all the basically melted away cells and everything like that. The experiment seems to be going well, till eventually Naruto seems to actually die during the experiment, and Orochimaru is about to turn around and walk away, realizing that this experimentation was a complete and utter fail. But as this was happening, he hears a beep as he turns around, looking at the heart monitor, as it slowly starts to beep, and his heart rate seems to normalize. Orochimaru gets excited. This is perfect. Now, all he has to do is turn Naruto into his own weapon of war. He's already erased Naruto's memory, so it really shouldn't be that hard to implant new ones into Naruto. But Naruto, with his heightened senses, because, reincarnation of Wolverine, would actually hear this. He hears Orochimaru talking. He can hear it plain as day, and he knows exactly what his plans are. Naruto doesn't have his memories, but he knows this is not good for him, and he needs to escape. He needs to get the fuck out of there, and he knows exactly how he's going to do that. Naruto, pulling out what he thought would be his bones, turns out is actually 3 blades on either of his hand. These are obviously Wolverine's claws, and he's like, oh, stronger than what they used to be, as he basically cuts his way out of the vat that he was inside of. As this happened, he turned to Orochimaru, as Orochimaru and a bunch of his henchmen would begin shooting a bunch of random shit at him. It would, depending on the power of it would either, dink off of Naruto because of his new metal bone structure, or it would do a little bit of damage, but Naruto would almost instantly regenerate it. Orochimaru realized this was going to go nowhere, considering none of his experiments would have killed Naruto, that he probably couldn't really do it either himself. So, he has to get out of there. Using his henchmen as somewhat of a shield, someone as just distraction, he leaves them all there, and he leaves, basically trying to figure out a way that he can nerf Naruto's regeneration, or at least somewhat subdue him in a way. He needs to figure out how he's going to control this new beast that he's actually created. So Orochimaru leaves for the time, and Naruto would obviously kill the henchmen that Orochimaru left behind as a slight distraction. Obviously Naruto pretty easily plows through them, before leaving the hideout, and begins wandering around the forest, until eventually stumbling upon what would actually be the Hidden Leaf Village. Obviously because plot convenience. So with this happening, Naruto would begin walking into the village, but obviously the guards at the gate would stop Naruto in his tracks, asking Naruto exactly who he was, and what business he had in the Leaf Village. Naruto's like, "I'll be honest with you, Chief. I have no idea who the actual fuck I am, but I've just been wandering around for a while and I saw this place, and I kind of heard a little bit of the commotion going on from a few miles away." They're like, "What? You heard it?" Naruto's like, "Yeah." He's like, "That doesn't seem right. I don't really buy your story, kid." And they're like, "Okay, whatever. Well, we'll take you to the Hokage." Naruto's like, "Okay, I don't know who the fuck that is, but sounds good to me." So, Naruto begins walking through the village, as a few glances catch Naruto's eye. People seem to actually recognize him, and he doesn't know who the hell anybody is who's looking back at him. He just awkwardly smiles and waves as he continues walking back basically towards where the Hokage office would actually be. Obviously, when Naruto would get there, he'd open the door, and he'd see Hiruzen standing there. With this happening, Hiruzen would be giving Naruto this look that basically was just like, "Where have you been for all this time? You've been gone for months." And Hiruzen would actually say this, and Naruto's like, "Sorry, I don't know who the hell you are, old man." Hiruzen looks at Naruto. It's like, "Oh, your memory's been erased." He's heard the stories that Orochimaru may have taken Naruto, but this basically confirms it. He's gonna have to figure out how to change Naruto. He doesn't know exactly what Naruto has become because of Orochimaru, but he needs to figure out how he's going to shape him into someone who could, be in this village. Not necessarily a ninja, all things considered, but somebody who could be in the village altogether. So he starts basically giving Naruto these orders, and telling him to train and do this and do that, or get a job. And Naruto's like, how about no? Hiruzen looks at Naruto. He's like, "I'm your Hokage. You will listen to me." Naruto looks at Hiruzen. He's like, "I don't know who you think I am, old man, but whoever you knew before, it's not me anymore. So you're gonna have to deal with this new me, or I might just have to kill you." Hiruzen, taken aback by the statement that Naruto just made, basically signals for him to leave. He's like, "I'll think about what I'm gonna do with you later. For now, just get the fuck out of my office." Naruto turns around, leaving, as he slams the door behind him, showing his act of retaliance, I guess you could say. Obviously, Naruto walks out of the Hokage office and once again notices all the stares of the people around him. He notices this and he's like, "Yeah, I know they know who I used to be, but it's not who I am anymore." He walks through the village and he holds the key in his hand. The Hokage basically, gave him it. And he remembers, or not really remembers, as much as like, "Okay, I'm gonna go figure out exactly where my old house was." He goes there and he opens the fridge, finding nothing but ramen. Instant ramen, this, that, it's all just fucking ramen. There's a few seasonings that this old person seemed to add to it, but good could it possibly taste? It's the only thing I have at this point, so I might as well just eat it, Naruto thinks. You know, throwing it in whatever the fuck the ninja world uses to cook things, if they have a microwave or an oven, whatever they actually have. I don't really remember that much. Naruto would cook this ramen, and he'd throw some of the random seasonings he's had on it, and he begins to eat some of it. And his mind seems to wander for a little bit. It's this weird feeling of nostalgia just seems to flood over him, but he can't really seem to think of why. He continues to eat the ramen at an ever-increasing rate as he just plows through it. Running back to the fridge, he heats up another few, continues to eat them, just trying to chase that feeling, but it never came back. The nostalgia never came back. Naruto would then just go to bed for that night, thinking about exactly what he wanted to do in the future. He wasn't just going to bide to the every whim of everybody around him, especially not that old man. He couldn't have had any idea what he's doing, what Naruto had dealt with for the past few fucking, however long it took Naruto to do anything. I don't know. So he knows that he's basically going to have to be his own person at this point. So he gets up and he'd begin wandering around the village until eventually somebody stumbles upon him. He's like, Naruto, you should be really going to the academy by now. Naruto would look at them and he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Who are you and why should I go there? They basically are like, well, you see, Naruto, I'm Iruka-sensei, your teacher, and as your teacher, I am demanding that you go back to the academy. Naruto looks at him and he's just like, you're demanding it, eh? And what if I refuse? Iruka, a little bit surprised at this act of retaliance. Naruto's always been pretty, hard-minded and everything like that, but he's never really done this. Naruto skipped class a few times, but it's been weeks, maybe even a month at this point, since Naruto's actually been in the class in the first place. And he needs to go to the academy, otherwise he can't become a ninja. Iruka has no idea that Naruto doesn't even have chakra. Basically, it's like, Naruto. Now with a softer tone, he starts telling Naruto that, he cares about him. He basically what happened with Mitsuki. He's like, Naruto, I care about you, and I want you to actually be able to graduate, but you can't do that if you keep skipping classes. Naruto sighs. He's like, whatever, old man, fine. As he basically begins walking over towards the academy. Naruto obviously walks in, and everybody around him is just like, oh, Naruto, I haven't seen you in so long. And he's like, the fuck are all of you? Then Naruto's eyes meet with Sasuke as this feeling of nostalgia seems to flood over him again, but he just can't seem to fathom it. He can't grasp what it is. Get some of those old memories back. But he wants it back. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know what his old memories are, but for some reason he needs to get them back. Continues to stare longingly. That's a very bad way to put it. He begins to, continues to stare at Sasuke as he just wants that feeling to flood over him again. But similar to what happened with the ramen, it's a one-time thing. His eyes would scan the room, basically, viewing all of his old classmates, but nothing really happens. Nobody really rings a bell with him, and he goes and sits down by himself, finding that one basically empty desk. Class would continue on for a while, and Naruto wouldn't really give too many shits about it. It would go on, and Naruto would, he'd just barely stay above passing level. He should probably graduate. It would probably be better for his future. So he'd graduate. He's like, whatever, I'll graduate from this fucking stupid academy. So Naruto would end up graduating. Or, I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point, but whatever. I'm not yet. Not yet. So, somebody during Naruto's classes, probably a week or two before graduation would actually happen at this point, and so the person that ends up walking. I don't know why I keep fucking my lips, but I don't fucking care at this point. So Naruto would be sitting there, and somebody would actually, wander and stray towards Naruto. This has never happened for the years that Naruto's been in the academy since he's returned. He's wondering why it's happening so late on. About to graduate. He turns to see who it is. He sees black flowing hair and a fairly frail and pale body, and he's like, what was her name again? But trying to, flow through the memories that he's had since he's returned. He's trying to remember the name of this girl sitting in front of him. names keep flooding his mind. He's going over them, Ino, Sakura. He's trying to remember who the fuck it is. At this point, it's probably been about 5-10 seconds since this girl sat down, and she begins to speak. Hey, Naruto. Naruto looks at her. She's like, what do you want? She looks at Naruto, and she's like, well, I've been trying to talk to you for a little bit now, and I just wanted to ask if you wanted to be my friend or anything. Naruto's like, friend? I literally have never had one of those. What would that accomplish me? What would that gain me? The person begins to look at Naruto now, and she's like, well, it doesn't really matter what it gains you, Naruto. It's the experience of the relationship that we'll have. Naruto's like, so it's supposed to mean something? Like, what are you trying to get at? Just hurry up and get to the point of what you're trying to say. The girl basically stands up now. She's like, sorry, never mind. She begins to walk away, going to her original seat. Naruto keeps thinking, what was her fucking name? He just can't seem to remember it. So, a few weeks would pass by, the graduation exam would actually be happening. And Hiruzen would be like, okay, Iruka, here's the thing. Naruto doesn't have chakra. Give him some other kind of test. He's like, okay, sure. Naruto, yeah, Iruka, what do you want? He's basically trying to think of a test at this point. He's like, Naruto? He's trying to think. He's like, huh. So he pulls out his cane and he's like, does he have a cane? I don't fucking know. He's like, I want you to punch this. And Naruto's like, you want me to fucking what now? And Iruka's like, if you karate chop this hard enough to break it cleanly, I will allow you to graduate. Everybody in the class is like, what the fuck? I would have graduated years ago at that point. And then Iruka's like, wait. Never mind. Not this cane, as he pulls out a metal bar. He's like, this instead. And Iruka's like, there's no way Naruto's going to graduate. When Naruto first came back to the village, Iruka remembered the old Naruto. This new Naruto, Iruka fucking hates. He's like, he's not gonna fucking graduate at this rate. So, he puts the fucking metal fucking rod into the ground in front of him. He's like, even I couldn't karate chop that and break it. And Naruto is just like, am I allowed to use a weapon? Iruka's like, sure, fucking go for it. He's like, whatever. Iruka couldn't cut it with the kunai, and that's the only weapon he's ever even seen Naruto use. Naruto steps up and he begins walking down the steps towards the basically, metal bar that's sitting there. And Naruto holds out his right hand in front of him as 3 blades, very sharp looking and very shiny, appear out of Naruto's hand, seemingly cutting his skin as they go. Everybody would be looking at this in awe. Nobody's ever seen this before. Naruto's never really showed anybody that he's even had this power. As he swings, it basically cuts the metal like fucking iron like butter at this point, as it just slices. 3 clean slices, and Naruto's just like, there, you happy? Do I graduate now? As the blades retract back into Naruto, and the wounds around Naruto's fist would actually heal. Everybody would be watching this in awe as Naruto walks out of the classroom, now thinking that he's graduated, and, he believes that full-heartedly, and for good reason, because he did. He graduated. So Naruto graduates from the academy, and Iruka runs back, and he's just like, Hiruzen, you'll never fucking believe this. And Hiruzen's like, what? Naruto has these weird fucking blade fuck shit things out of his hand, and he just cut this freaking steel bar. And Hiruzen's like, you did what? Yeah, and he's like, summon Naruto to my office, and here's, fucking Iruka walks out. He's like, yes sir, Hokage. And he goes and he finds Naruto in his house. He's eating ramen at this point. He's like, the Hokage summons you to his office. Naruto's like, that old geezer, can he wait 10 minutes? Iruka's like, Naruto, the Hokage is in charge of this village. You will go see him, will you not? Naruto's like, fine. As he stands up, still holding the bowl of ramen in his hand, as he continues to eat it as he walks up towards the Hokage office. He gets to the Hokage office and he's about done with his food, but he figures he wants to put on a show. So he kicks the door open as he slurps some of the ramen into his mouth, yelling, what the fuck do you want, old man? Hiruzen, a little bit surprised by this act that Naruto just put on, is like, Naruto, is there something that you've been hiding from me in the past? Naruto looks up at Hiruzen and is like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? Hiruzen explains what Iruka just told him about those blades that came out of Naruto's fist, and Naruto's like, well, you see, yeah, I was not lying to you, for you see, you never told me to show you, nor did you ever ask if Orochimaru gave me any special weapons. And Hiruzen's like, well, I mean, you're not wrong. That seems something you should tell me when I asked what happened when you were with Orochimaru. And Naruto's like, well, you see, you didn't ask specifically, so, I didn't. Naruto begins to walk away now as he throws the ramen, basically just in some random corner of the Hokage office, and he, throws the door open before walking out. Hiruzen is just like, why did I even allow that kid to fucking graduate? Nobody really know of the, people of authority like Naruto at all at this point. Everybody just fucking hates him. He's like, they can't be their own individual being. It's like the normal world. You can't actually be your own person. You have to pay taxes. You have to have the money. It's like, you can't do that. That isn't allowed. They have to have a sense of superiority. That's just how it works. So, Hiruzen's just like, whatever. I'll deal with that fucking shit later. Like he said years ago when Naruto did return to the village the first time. So, Naruto graduating, he'd go to the academy the next day, and he's like, so, what team am I on? Everybody's looking at Naruto, and Iruka smiles at this point. He's like, Hiruzen set him up for fail from the very start, didn't he? As he tells Naruto, you will be a one-man squad. Naruto's like, oh, okay, cool, that's actually better than what I was expecting. As he begins to turn around to walk out, Iruka stops him. He's like, Naruto, still will have a squad captain. Naruto's like, will I? And what if I kill them? Hiruzen is like, or not Hiruzen, sorry, Iruka's just like, well, you see, Naruto, if you kill him, you will be killed as a rogue ninja, so I don't recommend doing that. Naruto's like, okay, who is it? As Iruka basically turns around, he's like, well, you see, it is Hiruzen himself. And Naruto's like, it's who? Why do I want that old man on my team? Fuck that. As he walks out of the class, he's like, okay, no, I'm not dealing with that shit. They said I'm a one-man team. That means I'm a one-man team. I am my own captain, and I am my own members. So he walks over to the Hokage office, and he tells this to Hiruzen. He's not asking him. He simply tells him, I'm going to be my own person, and you're not going to be able to do shit against it. Hiruzen's like, he needs that authoritarian. She's like, well, you see, Naruto, that is what I planned all along. For you see, I am smart like that. Naruto's like, yeah, sure, I don't care. What's my first mission? And he's like, I'm gonna send Naruto on a fucking death mission at this point. He's like, well, it doesn't start for a few weeks, but there is a mission that I have for you, Naruto. Just a C-rank mission. He's expecting Naruto to die on this mission. He's really hoping for him to do so. He's like, C-rank mission to guide a bridge builder named Tazuna back to his homeland. So Naruto's like, oh, okay, sounds easy enough, as he walks out of the village. Or as he walks out of the door. But then he reopens it. He's like, when are we leaving? Hiruzen's like, Friday at 10. Don't be late. Naruto's like, okay, peace out, bye. So that's where I'm going to leave this what if off, because I know I kind of feel like it. It's 24 minutes long, and I don't really feel like making it any longer. So yeah, I'll see you guys in whatever the fuck the next video I make it. Sorry for the lack of content I've been posting. I have been procrastinating.